My name is Jidra Fashira. I work at Dodore Kenya Limited as Business Development Manager. As Dodore Kenya Limited, we have a product called AgriWallet, which is a mobile platform for financing in agricultural value chains. So as AgriWallet, we offer finance products to farmers and also to input providers as well as off-takers or buyers. Our model is based on the off-taker. So what we do is we offer a financial service to the off-taker to be able to buy from farmers promptly. We have, there's a challenge of most of the off-takers are SMEs who most times do not have working capital to buy from smallholder farmers because when they buy whatever they sell, they have credit periods of 30, 60 days. Yet a smallholder farmer waits for this money for 3 months when the plant is growing, and then on marketing and on sale, they will need the money cash. So we offer that service to the buyer, financial service to the buyer. Then we get introduced to the farmer. So the farmer, based on data and transactional data and their relationship with the buyer, we are able to also provide input financing. For the smallholder farmer, we are looking at a farmer who has a relationship, an ongoing relationship with a buyer. At times it will be a contract, and then after that what we need is just basic know your customer details. That's the name, mobile number, ID number, and then from there on we start building a history, a transactional history, and also bringing on household data that will help us profile the farmer even better, so that in future we are able to offer them that input financing. As a buyer, we come to you or you come to us, and you'll have the challenge of paying farmers. So what we tell you is that we have a very simple know your customer process where you fill an application form, and for us our financing to this off-taker is not based on assets or security in form of assets. So what we do is we do a credit check. We're in partnership with a local credit reference bureau who do a credit check on the buyer. So they look at assets and liabilities and the relationships they have business-wise. And then after that, they come up with a report which has a credit limit, and that credit limit is what we work with to offer these SMEs. So the benefits for the buyer is that they get flexible working capital that is also affordable for them, and they don't have to go through the process of bringing assets and like they will do in banks. So for us it's the flexibility, and also that the benefit is also that they get loyalty from their farmers, because with us, using AgriWallet, they are able to pay their farmers on time, which is a great deal for them to be able to to have consistent supply of produce, which again promotes their business, because they can be consistent. Let's say, for example, this buyer is taking to a supermarket or a hotel, so whenever they have that working capital to pay the farmer, then they can be consistent in supplying to these hotels or supermarkets, and at the same time they're also building loyalty with the farmer. Because one of the challenges farmers face today is the challenge of brokers who come in, because farmers, whenever they sell, they want cash money. So working with these buyers to pay promptly, then the question of the brokers does not come in. So when the buyer introduces us to their farmer, most times the first service we offer the farmer is just payment on behalf of the buyer. Then what happens is that we open an AgriWallet account for them, and that's how we'll ask for their name, mobile number, and ID number, just very basic know your customer details. And then what we do then is we start seeing their behavior, their payment behavior in terms of how they are getting paid. So we are all able to tell how many times do they supply to this buyer, how much do they supply to this buyer. And that again helps, so they are creating a profile which they can, within that profile, they can access loans. The other thing is we also, what we do is when we meet the farmers, we train them on basic financial literacy lessons, and we ask them to have a commitment saving. What you're trying to do is empower the farmer to be able to look at their farming as a business. So what we tell them is at the point of payment, the system can automatically set aside, some retentions that they can use in future to buy input. What makes us different from a bank is, one, is that our financing is very flexible for both the farmer and the buyer, and also for the input providers, because we're also offering a financial service to the input providers. And it is very tailored towards agriculture. You'll find that, like AgriWallet, when a farmer accesses financing from AgriWallet, they may not need to pay a monthly installment of their interest. What you do is that they will pay at the point of payment by the buyer. So it is very flexible for this farmer because we are giving them an opportunity to finance their business, and they will pay back at the point of when they are cash rich, when they have monetized the harvest. And then the other thing is also the finance on our platform is earmarked. It is earmarked in this way. For the buyer, we offer finance specifically to go towards payment of farmers. Well, we recognize, these buyers may have challenges with capex, investments. But for us, we are helping them to be able to, get more produce. So we are very earmarked towards payment of farmers. For the farmer, the money in their AgriWallet can only be used for purchase of inputs. Yeah. So it's that earmarking because research has it that agricultural loans are diverted up to 70%. So that's what we're trying to curb. Farmers get to know us through the partnerships that we have with mainly NGOs. So we have partnerships with SNV, with IFDC, with Farm to Market Alliance. So that's how we get in touch with farmers and also buyers. Most times these NGOs will introduce us to buyers, and then the buyers will introduce us to their farmers. And then from there now we start building a relationship with the farmer as well as the input provider. One of the challenges that we have, that we experience with farmers, and it's more out of the control of the farmer, is most of them depend on rain for their agriculture, which becomes very risky to finance them, and also it becomes risky for them. So we are trying to see how best, how best do we serve rain-fed agriculture farmer. For other players who want to come into this field in financing, is the best advice I will give to them is know your customer, who is the smallholder farmer. The challenge we have here is that we sit in boardrooms in capital cities and we assume that we know what challenges smallholder farmers are going through. Then we come up with solutions, and when we bring them down to the farmer, they don't associate. So for us, farmers have been key to the product that we have that we have today. because we did a lot of research and piloting together with farmers to try and find out what are their main challenges in doing their farming, and finance was one big one, and they couldn't get finance from microfinances or banks for various reasons. So that's where we are able to come in and find farmers who are who are in need of that financing and who are able and willing to pay for it and to promote their business. AgriWallet has the ambition of reaching millions of farmers in Africa. At the moment, we're in Kenya, in Rwanda, and we are looking forward to going to Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Nigeria in the coming months. And so one of the things that we would hope that African governments do, and I'll speak more about Kenya where we have been for a longer time, is there's a challenge of access to inputs by farmers. Just last year, the government stopped zero rating inputs for farmers, which makes the inputs expensive. Which again for farmers it's a big challenge. So we would want to ask government to try and just reduce the cost of production for farmers, especially when you consider that most of the smallholder farmers are poor and they are trying to get out of poverty. Then inputs become expensive, so they are caught up in a vicious cycle of poverty where they use last season's seed to plant, which reduces their productivity really. So Africa's population will double by the year 2050. That means we will need to feed more people, and with increase of population then, and with the same pieces of land, then the land under cultivation will reduce. But then at the same time we have to increase the food production. So we have to look at ways and innovations of how we can be food secure in 2050. And one of those is access to finance for smallholder farmers. And access to finance in itself for a smallholder farmer can promote their productivity by more than 25%. So I would like to challenge governments and business people in this space, in the agricultural spaces. There is a lot of opportunity and potential to for business, and also to create employment for our youth, because agriculture in itself contributes over 25% and above of the GDP of most African countries. And in these African countries, the unemployment is really high. So if we can take advantage of, agriculture, to promote employment, and also to build our manufacturing sectors in terms of value addition. So I think my word is that there is a lot of potential for anyone who wants to be in the agriculture space, from financing to manufacturing, and to the smallholder farmers who are doing the production itself.